Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome back to the Core Purpose vlog, everyone. And now I'll be discussing, thanks to you guys for suggesting it, birth and marriage and child rearing. You know what's really weird is that when I was about 20, 21, I didn't even want to get married because I felt so in love with Guru Granth Sahib Ji and had seen the world to be quite false. So I was going through this phase that I don't want to get married and I just want to stay focused on my Sikhi and my spiritual path. But my beautiful Bibi Ji, Bibi Manmohan Kaur, who kind of adopted me like a daughter, bless her. She was one day sitting with me and telling me the importance of Gristi Jeevan and why we should get married and how we develop good virtues, and it's the kind of path that Guru Nanak Dev Ji advocated. So I was sitting there one day saying, oh, okay, but then at the back of my head, I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to meet the soul partner that I wanted. Like, I wanted somebody who was more devoted to Guru Sahib than I was. To cut a long story short, I was so lucky because I got introduced to my husband, and we both from the day one said that our path was to develop our Sikhi and just do seva. So we got married in 2004. So once we got married, my husband, he did a das that Maharaj, please, we're starting Gristi Jeevan, and whenever you feel like the time is right, please bless us with a Gursikh soul, somebody who will remember you and serve others. But if not, then just make us sterile, as in don't give us any kids. So it was quite a hard hitting ardas, but it was done. Within 2 or 3 months in marriage, I fell pregnant with my first child, and we were over the moon. We felt so blessed. And you know, in my head I had these ideas that, wow, I'm going to read the whole Sundar Gutka every day. I'm going to go for a walk so I can be healthy. I'm going to eat healthy food like fruit and veg and milk. But what happened is I started it, and then just sort of after a week or so, all of a sudden I got so sick and I wouldn't stop vomiting. And what that led to was 8.5 months of just vomiting, that I was put on the drip so many times. And I had so many hospital visits. I remember asking a Gursikh, Bhai Sukhrar Singh at that time, very well-known Kathavachik in England, and saying, oh, I'm pregnant, what should I do? And he said, do your Sahaj Path. He also said, try not to watch any TV, which we didn't watch much of anyway. So I didn't watch any TV or anything like that. And I remember when the midwife came and tried to collect blood samples of me 6 weeks into the pregnancy, and nothing, because my veins had shrunk so much, nothing was coming out. And then Bibi Daljit Kaur from Leicester, I met her for the first time, and she suggested eating from Sarablo Bate. So I tried that, and believe it or not, the next time I went for a blood test, they managed to get all the blood out, so that was excellent. So what I had was hyperemesis gravidarum. That had a massive impact on me because I felt so weak that I could only go to the toilet or the bathroom with assistance, and I couldn't go to the Gurdwara anymore daily, and I missed it so much. And believe you me when I say that women directly influence their unborn child, because I felt from day one that this was such a Bairagi soul that I was carrying. Like, this child would always yearn to go and see Maharaj or do seva or something. And I'm not sure if it was because of me and the way I was feeling at that time. I felt it was deeper than that, to be honest. But I do think that it played a part. Maharaj Kirpa Fairy, what we still managed to do is follow the Gursikh Maryada kind of guidelines, and luckily enough, even though I was lying down or I was ill throughout it, my husband read I think 2 or 3 Sahaj Paths when I was pregnant, which I got to listen to. And otherwise we used to have Gurbani playing all the time in the house, so I was always listening to Bani as well. So the birth was unexpected. It was 10 days early, and what I had done was my research. So I was told that when you go into hospital and you have a child and you're Amritari, although midwives may come up to you and say, you know, you have to take off your Panchkakar, your Kirpan, or your Kashera, I knew that I wasn't going to do it. I had written it in my birth plan, and guys, we spend so long on our birth plan sometimes, and we didn't even look at it once, not even once, nor did the midwives. So obviously I was in a lot of pain. I had an epidural and I was very weak as well, so I was having gas in it. But the funny thing is, I had only gone to hospital to go on the drip just for 2 hours, and then they increased it to 24 hours so I could be hydrated. And but what happened is, when I was sleeping in bed at night, on 1 o'clock, bang on 1 o'clock in the morning, I felt contractions, and my body just knew that this was getting ready for the baby to come. So straight away I just started doing Japji Sahib, but kept going until they said it was established labour, which was about 6 o'clock in the morning, and then they phoned my husband to say come to the hospital. No one can really prepare you for the trials and tribulations of birth. I mean, all three of my births were not the same, but it was lovely. We had Vaheguru Simran going on in the background, beautiful Kirtan that even the midwives were singing it. But the thing is, I was in a lot of pain. It was kind of controlled after the epidural actually, but what they did say, they checked to see if the baby was distressed, and when they found out the baby was okay, so I didn't have to go for a cesarean, they said, right, you need to get ready to push now. If you push, then he can come out, and no one tells you how to push. So I was like, poof, like this. It was hilarious. But they said, no, imagine you're going to the toilet, so that's how you push the baby out. And instinctively, I don't know what it was, but I turned to my husband at that point and I said, you do Ardas to Mata Sahib Kaur whilst I do a Chaupai Sahib part quickly. And I kid you not, but the moment he finished the Ardas, he was standing next to me holding my hand, and I finished the Chaupai Sahib, Sagal Dwar ko chhad gaya gaya Tuharo Dwar, Bahingai ki Lajas Govindas Tuhar. The moment we said it, pushed, and our baby Harsukh Singh was out. And it was the most beautiful experience ever. And we got to give him gurti, which is my husband took a sarplo bata with a kirpan, some patase, sugar crystals, and mixed it with water, special jal from, I think it was Bangla side perhaps, and he made amrit from it and fed 5 drops to my son and the rest to me. And that was our beautiful, beautiful family moment. But after that, what happened is, obviously, I vomited loads, I carried on vomiting, and the little one stopped breathing, so he got taken to neonatal. But at that point, even when he stopped breathing, I knew that at that moment, that Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj had brought this little life into the world. They were going to look after him, so it was so beautiful. So Gurbani talks about mamta, and I always thought that was maybe more. More means attachment, and mamta is like the kind of motherly kind of attachment. And I realized what that was when my son was born. I felt so deeply and strongly connected to him that even if he went downstairs and I was upstairs at the beginning when he was very, very fragile and tiny, I was, oh my God, bring it back. I felt like something had been torn from me. It was like that. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I had, I think, a colicky baby for about 2 or 3 months when he was about 2 months old, and it was always at 7 p.m. I don't know what that was about, and he had a lot of reflux as well going forward. And I remember that was the time usually where my husband and the family would all be at the Gurdwara Sahib, so I'd be alone at home with the baby. And obviously I would always try to sna him Vaheguru or Chaupai Sahibs, Japji Sahibs, and do Ardas, keep doing Ardas to Guruji, please bless him with Gursikhi Jeevan, Gursikh qualities. And it was really nice, but dealing with a frantic crying baby was really hard. I didn't ever think that it would be that hard. I just assumed that you just kind of had to have a baby, and as long as you're looking after its basic needs, it will be fine. That was really challenging, and it got to the point where I had, looking back now, I would say I had postnatal depression. I remember going through a lot of hardship and emotionally and mentally, and my elder sister-in-law from America was there as well, and she gave me a big hug one day, and she was trying to tell me take a soak in the bath and try and relax, and she was trying to give me support while she was down, but I didn't really say anything or admit it until I think it got really bad. And then I went to a health visitor, and when I went there and I said I'm feeling really low, she just turned around and she said, it's not depression, you just hit reality. And whoa, I felt really like, oh my God, showing you my vulnerable self, and you're not helping, and you're just telling me just deal with it. That was really, really, really tough. So I feel for any woman that has given birth or pre-giving birth and didn't get the help that she deserved. That was the time when I really realized women are going through so much, but often don't get the help that they need, just because people base it on their own experiences. Maybe their body was fitter, maybe they were more resilient, or maybe they weren't so traumatized by the birth or hyperemesis or whatever it was. Maybe the setup was different at home. I don't know what it was, but it's not always the same for everyone. So we should take seriously when someone comes asking for help. Okay, because in this series I'm just talking about births really. I'm not going to go on too much about after birth and going on. I was really lucky. My mother-in-law looked after me, giving me all the kind of walidod and the binya and all that kind of stuff that I'm supposed to take. So she done lots of seva for me, and my mum came down, and it was very emotional. Your emotions are everywhere, and I tried to stay in bed, but I didn't really know the importance of it, staying in bed, resting for 40 days. I think within a couple of days I was going down the stairs, and I thought I could just jump into my normal body, but bodies do not remain the same for some people like me, and it felt it after a while. Second birth was pretty traumatic. I think I actually screamed that one. I was in so much pain because the hospital people were telling me to go home, and I said I can't go home. One, it's my first son's 3rd birthday today, and I'm giving birth today, not in front of visitors, thank you very much, but they said we haven't got space in the hospital. But I was like, I'm going to give birth, and within a couple of hours I'd given birth. So you've got to trust your own body. You know what you need to do at that time. It's really amazing how your body is also a spiritual portal for a new soul coming through, but it's like the body will also tell you what it needs to do. It's so amazing. And obviously the crazy thing was we went to a Mahapurush at that time, and 9 months to the day they had said do this much nitnem in your daily routine alongside your normal one. And I'd been doing that, and for that day when I went into labour, when my waters broke naturally for the first time, because they had to be broken on the first one, there I was trying to finish off that jab bachan that the Mahapurush had given me, and I was like, quickly before I give birth. But that was a very painful birth, and what had happened after I gave birth to Sunda naturally, my placenta got stuck, which wasn't good. It was really bad, because what had happened after hours and hours and hours of me giving birth naturally, which my body, to be honest, struggles a lot because of weakness from the vomiting. I didn't have an epidural then, but what had happened is my placenta got stuck, so they said we're going to have to induce you again so you give birth to your placenta. And that was the worst 2 hours of my life. I was in so much pain, screaming. And I remember just saying to my husband, please just tell me stories of Baba Thakur Singh Ji or something, just to get my mind off it. But I was in a lot of pain, and eventually it didn't work, so they took me into theatre. And when you go into theatre, they ask you to take your kirpan off and your kada off, and I was like, no way, I can't take it off. There's no way I'm taking it off. And I was so lucky. So if you stand your ground, there are ways around it. I was so lucky. The doctors were really good, and what they did, they said, do you mind if we sellotape your kirpan and your gada around your wrist and your shoulder, your arm? And I was like, no, I don't mind. That's brilliant. That's even better. The securer the better it is. So they took me into theatre like that, and I was given an epidural. And I don't know how other ladies feel, but I felt utterly humiliated because of the way you're seated, and it's like everyone's seeing you in that way while they're doing a manual placenta removal. I know that the doctors see this every day, but when you haven't been through it yourself, you just feel like, oh my god, I've got no dignity left. So I was in theatre, and I just kept crying. My tears kept rolling down, and I just kept doing job beside the part. You can see the theme here, how at the end it's only Gurbani that's going to help you, and obviously Mahapurush's Bachan or any Gurmukh that's told you to do this much, you should always try and do that, because it's always helpful to you. And eventually they managed to get it out, and it wasn't pretty. I was on a catheter and whatever, but then off I went back home afterwards again. The third pregnancy, I went to India with the family because I only found out 2 weeks beforehand that I was pregnant. So reluctantly, I went to India, and I was sick. I had to go and stay in hospital there. But I came back. This was a trip where we met Baba Ajit Singh Ansariwale and Baba Gurbakh Singh Ji, who is the Mahapurush at Sevawala Sahib, where we're living now. They were the ones that like really took me forward and said, you must get blessings for your child and for your health. Otherwise, I was trying to keep it quiet because I was a bit like a bit ashamed maybe that I was pregnant again, third time. But they were amazing. They made sure that I got the blessings, and when we came back I had about 2 or 3 hospital admissions again. But then all of a sudden the doctors just decided, right, you've got a history of hyperemesis, so rather than you always coming to hospital and going on the drip, what works for you is certain injections with certain medicines in it. And what we'll do is twice a week or 3 times a week I could go to my local GP and get the injection done there. So it used to stop me vomiting for up to 48 hours, maybe 24 to 48 hours. And so that was really helpful. So that was nice, because all throughout my pregnancies we were always having Sangat over. Even after birth, Sangat was over. After this third one, Jeevan, we had like Gyani stay over, Bhai Sahib stay over, and I was trying to look after them and obviously look after the baby as well. I remember going into labour and I was like, oh my god, it's happening so quick third time round. And I went in and I was in so much pain, and the nurses checked me and they said, you're only 2 or 3 centimeters, and which meant either I can go back home or it would be a very long day. And I was heartbroken because I was like, how come I'm in so much pain but I'm hardly dilated? And then what happened was, I remember sort of within 45 minutes or something, the nurse came in, and in this time I was like, oh my god, I need an epidural, I'm in so much pain. And I was asking her, please can you get an epidural? And it felt like everything was going wrong, and I remember this so vividly. And I literally just screamed out to the Mahapurush that we'd been to, and I said, Babaji, help, can you not hear me, please help? And although we were doing our Gurbani job, but I don't know, I just screamed this out. And everything was going wrong. And then just after I said that, the midwife said, oh, I'm leaving now, my shift is ending, but I'm just going to check you one more time before I leave. And she checked me and she said, oh my god, this is crazy. She goes, you are ready, you are 10 centimeters and you are ready to push right now. So Maharaj de Kirpanal, it was literally 2 pushes and she was out, the beautiful baby girl that I always wanted. And she was on me. And then I was really worried because I had that placenta manual removal of it before. They said the chances were it would happen again. And I was like, oh no, please. I was like, oh my god, I'm going to have to go into theatre. But what happened is I was so lucky, Maharaj really listened. I had a really experienced midwife, and she knew acupressure, and she started massaging my ankles, saying that apparently by doing this it gets your placenta to release and come out naturally. So she did that for about 20 minutes with a new midwife, and little did you know that it came out, all of it intact. And I was so happy. I had a beautiful baby in my arms, and it was just such a beautiful moment. So all the births we followed the same pattern, which was doing Sahaj Parts beforehand, keeping Gurbani on in the house, and then also after birth, so the first 40 days after birth, doing another Sahaj Part, which myself and the baby listened to as a shukrana, and thank you to Maharaj for delivering a safe and healthy baby and blessing us with parenthood, motherhood. So I don't think anything can prepare you for how grateful you feel, how much pain you might go through in a labour, but also what you learn on the parenting journey. I think it's such an amazing journey, and it's one of a kind. I had lots and lots of ups and downs in terms of health-wise, sleepless nights for many years, and that had an effect on my health as well. And after my third child was born, it was a year later, and then I fell into depression because I was so exhausted. And at that time I went to the doctor, they suggested antidepressants, which I did try, but to be honest, they made me worse in the first few days, so bad. I didn't even recognize myself, it was that bad. And I was so fortunate that I had Bibi Darshan Kaur came when I told her. She's a clinical psychologist and a really good friend of mine. She came down when I said to her I was feeling very depressed. Her husband, Harbir Singh, osteopath, amazing. Thank you so much. I will never forget that, when you drove 100 miles just to see how I am, to spend a few hours with me and reconnect me, realign me to what's important, and reaffirm even my faith, because when you're in depression you start questioning everything. So they were amazing. And Baba Ajit Singh Ji Hansali Wale, who another Gurmukh Bhai Gurtej Veer Singh, like just did ardas on my behalf and asked them for blessings. And I literally woke up the next day from being completely like depressed, woke up the next day and felt like a massive black cloud had been lifted. Bibi Harmeet Kaur, she is the Singhani, the wife of Shahid Bhai Amrik Singh Ji. I remember going up to her after my first son was born. I think he was about 9 or 10 months, maybe more. And I said to her, Bibi Ji, I don't feel so good. I miss Guruji so much. I miss sitting with the Gutka Sahib and really taking in the Bani and going to the Gurdwara and focusing. And I'm not able to get up at Amrit Vela, always hit and miss. We were for sometimes, and then sometimes I'd just be going to sleep at Amrit Vela. It was on and off so much. And she gave me the best advice, and she goes, you know what, every Singhani goes through this, don't worry. And that was such a huge sense of relief, because I felt like I'm failing so much. But it's everyone's individual abilities, what their body allows, what their mental health allows, what their situations allow, family allows, but also every single thing that we do anyway, even if we're doing Mool Mantra Jap or Saj Path, or even if we just say Waheguru 5 times in the day, even that is not us doing it, it's Guruji themselves doing it. So we should never think that, oh, I've done this much part for my kids, because it was never us anyway. And copious amounts of time in Gurbani, it says that is Guruji doing the Gur Prasad, the Guru's Kirpa, that with that Kirpa we are able to recite their name or remember them. So that in brief is my crazy birthing journeys and becoming a mother for the first time. As you can hear, it's Gurbani that is always there for you all the time. Through birth, through your life achievements, through marriages, through death, always Guruji's Bani is always there for you. So always take the support of that. That's the one thing we can always keep within our hearts at all the time. And there's a Gurbani Pankti as well that says, no one can take it away, no one can burn it, no one can drown it. Gur ka Shabad Vasai Ji Nale, that Shabad of the Gurus always stays in our hearts. So that's one thing I would recommend to all women, whether you're mothers or not. Just keep on doing your prayers all the time, because that is your deposit, your spiritual deposit, and that will always be of use to you in this life and the life beyond. So if you've had a baby or you're planning it, I just want you to know that it does get easier. I think the first sort of 3 to 4 years were really exhausting. Obviously, because in that time period I was having another child and then another child, so I had 3 children, 5 and under. So one thing my mum always used to say to me is, you're going to feel a massive sense of relief when they go into full-time education, and that's when you start getting a bit of your independence back. And she was right. When they went, you do feel a void as well, like, oh my God, I have not got a little child depending on me. You feel a slight void as well, but then you can fill that up with Gurbani Jab and more seva, or whatever, pursuing your passions or your purpose in life, or taking your career further, whatever it is that you want to do, or supporting other women, because this is the most natural phenomenon that is created in this whole world to me. I mean, but we often don't realize that we can always reach out to each other and say, how was it for you? Because I guarantee so many Benjis, so many sisters have got a story to tell about their birth, maybe something that stayed with them that they haven't shared and they might want to share. I'm glad there's so many ways to communicate with each other. There's people doing fantastic blogs. One of my favorites is Sikh Family Life. They do a lot about becoming a mother, what you can do. It's really inspiring. And there's loads and loads out there on social media that you can look at, people talking about their journeys. Sikh Dad, as a male, he talks about his journeys, and I know my husband wanted to do a bit about the journeys of raising kids as well. But if there's anything that else you would like to know or need, comment or DM me. So please forgive my countless mistakes on doing this vlog. So I'm going to say Fateh here, and I will share more tips of other families that I've seen doing amazing seva on raising their children, and also some of my own. So take care, Ji. Thank you for watching. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.